Everyone, welcome to this video. So I hope you like this. And this is typography in 3D, and I've really tried my own twist on like different techniques that I saw online. So this was just exercise for me to really hone my skills and just jump in it. And I recorded the whole process, and it took about 4 hours, which no one wants to watch. So I kind of cut it down into like 40 minutes. So hopefully that will be more watchable. And for those who are interested in those techniques, then they are there. And just be aware that there's a lot of jumps in time, because there was a lot of pauses where me just like, yeah, that. So I cut that out, cut all the pauses where I was thinking which direction to go, and really left only the important bits. If you want to download these materials, I think I'm going to create that and put it on my Gumroad. I'm not going to include all the EXRs I've rendered, because that would be like 17 gigs. I will include everything else. So if you're interested, head to my Gumroad. You can download this and look at these scenes yourself, and just kind of try to imagine what you would do with that.
Hey, so I just installed the new Adobe After Effects 2023, and I also installed the font Betatron from Cotype Foundry. I was thinking we could create like an animation, just some type of animation, just like keep it, and we use the new font Betatron. Just make it larger, and we see what we can do with our new presets and how much we can kind of deform that scene. I've selected 10 seconds, and that means in 25 frames per second composition there will be 250 frames of animation. So that's how I will render this out. And as you can see, it's transparent white PNG, so there's not going to be any background. I'm just going to render it this way and then play with it in Cinema. So let's just start with this text, and I'm just going to create some duplications and create variations of this, and we'll see, every second or so I would like this to change to something slightly different. Cut out, so I'm using Ctrl-Shift-D to cut these, and I'm just going to make this larger, even larger than it is. So if I look at this here, I'm just going to make it 1000. And then we can animate this. So I'm just going to click on the position of both of these, which I think is these two, right? And click on the stopwatch. So press P as a position, and then click on the stopwatch, and then change the position of each individual. So this one, I go back in time, and I don't want to come back from top. I actually want to go like this. And this one, I just want to go like from here. So they just gonna come like this. I'm also gonna ease out those keyframes. So I'm just gonna move this slightly slower. So we have a keep it simple. Keep it simple. We can try a new animations preset that just came out. So if I go animation presets and animation preset text, and then animate in, and now we have these new slide and pop in. So we can highlight this one, and straight away you can see that you have this kind of out of the box animation. Can do something with just the word simple, just so we really actually keep it simple. We can put it in the middle. So we have this, bam, this, okay. So at this point, I'm playing with different types of animation. So I'm trying to layer typography over each other and using new After Effects preset, and also trying to play with mattes. But overall, this is all simple techniques that I don't need to showcase here, because you all know, right? Okay, now when it comes to rendering this animation out, we will render this in render queue. So you highlight this composition. So we have type animation, you go export, and render queue. And now that you have the in render queue, you gonna modify your output module and change the format to PNG sequence. And now you need alpha information in there as well, so you have the transparency, and that is RGB alpha. That's perfect. And now we can specify where. So I'm just gonna create new C4D project, and let's call it type animation. Keep it simple. And now I can do texture, and type animation will be, keep it simple, texture 1, just in case I wanna do more later. So it's just gonna count with that and do type animation. So save, and now we have the best settings. So we can, but we're gonna use comp frame rate, so 25 frames per second. So it will render for 10 seconds, 25 frames per each second, so 250 frames, and we will match that in Cinema 4D for the smooth result. Now, if you know my videos from before, then you know that I set up my initial file the way that I never have to think about the project, I mean the render path, because it's predetermined by these variables. So watch this video, like top 10 tips how to improve your effective workflow in Cinema 4D, and you can set it for yourself, because this will save you a great amount of time when you just keep working, because I'm going to show you how we can quickly create variations. So at first I start playing with the cloner, and I thought I'm gonna put the texture on the cloner object and play with that, but then quickly gave up on it and you know, load in the material through the color splitter, and then I decided I'm just gonna start with a simple cube. So I'm gonna spare you this time, and we just watch the time lapse. Try import a couple of rocks, and so we have this sandstone boulder, and for example, if I look at that material, I can copy actually our material. I can copy the whole thing, I hope so, onto that boulder. Yes. And then that boulder will be connected as a base. I'll get rid of the albedo, because I want albedo to be just kind of controlled by me and just be very wide. And now we have that texture on actual rock. And if I'm gonna turn on the displacement, so now because we're using actually UVs of that rock, so it's just gonna get crazy like this, and we're just gonna, you know, keep. But what we can do, we can actually look at that rock, and we can go to UV edit, and you see the split's quite nice. So I think I would start by going back to that rock, and then put a remesh on it. So if I put it into remesh, it's like holding Alt, put it into remesh, it will kind of remesh into something like this, which is easier on textures, and we can even simplify that. I don't want to actually simplify that too much. So I'm gonna keep it this way. I'm gonna Control C, I mean the C to edit, and delete the byproducts, and then go to UV edit, click on that rock, set UVB from projection, UVW, I keep saying UVB, as automatic UVs. So we'll see, and this is quite a good split. I can go like a. So at this point I completely got rid of the material from the bridge, and I'm using rock as a mesh only, and I've created simple material that layers just the regular standard material with that PNG texture on top of that. So that's all. The texture is running through all the different sides, so but I think the effect's quite cool. And now it's about going into that standard material and create that rock texture as well. So the way we could do that is to create max noise, maybe like 3 of those, and do displacement blender and 3 displacements. So max noise, texture map, max noise, texture map, and same blender layer 1, 0, 1, and 2. Now you have 3 of those, which immediately bothers me because I do it this way. Okay, and this goes to the displacement, and the blender needs to be activated. And now we can just start playing with those noises. So let's say we're gonna use Luca, and we get something like this, so we can increase that overall scale. And then we're gonna get, let's say Voronoi 3, and we're gonna make it like that displacement, so we can make it of a big of a displacement. And the biggest impact is probably in here in that blender. We can just combine and give the value to the noises, and then displacement on that one, as well as max and noise. We can use tuple. Now we apply this to all rocks. We have 5 different rocks. Just gonna get rid of this. Delete unused materials. Okay, so we have these rocks, and we have this same, I think one of them rocks needs to be some kind of a color, different color. So we can duplicate this material and highlight this rock. So we know this one, and that duplicate material needs to go. And if I open this up and change the standard material, that white one to some color. Now to all these rocks we can apply animation type vibrate, and I can control this vibrate like by doing the rotation on each axis for 10 degrees by 0.2 frequency, which will result in slight movement over those 10 seconds where these rocks look like they kind of just reacting with each other. And we can do same for the position, 0.1. So it make it look like there are some forces in play. Well, they're not. Now I would keep working on the actual noises, because I think it needs, and that middle rock we can come up with something crazier. So it will be rock, but also it will have some sort of weird texture that rocks that normally don't have. Like let's say geometry bump input. So we're gonna actually have to bring bump map, plug the texture into bump, and then bump input. And this texture will be taken from 3D assets. Let's go to my cloth textures and let's do plots, and let's just find just kind of normal, and I'm just gonna change it from height wheel to tangent speed normal, and this way we're gonna get like a bump, and I'm just gonna get rid of that displacement. I'm just gonna use, actually I'm gonna use displacement map. So instead of a noise, wow, that was quite cool. Wow, I love that. Now I don't want to use the map. How quickly this escalated into something I didn't expect. Okay, so I'm just gonna again use displacement blender and bam. So there's gonna be base input into output as a displacement. Copy that displacement and mix it with the texture. I'm just gonna synthetic displacement, no. So we have a sort of this kind of texture, and I was just gonna scale it to 0.1, 5 by 5. Okay, now we're getting somewhere I like. So scale. The next thing, I can get out of my camera. I can put the redshift back where it is. Yes, Oof, hell stuff. So we have these, and this is our animation one. I remind you, so it's going to be very interesting to see how quickly we can scale this, and I'm going to show you how that technique works. You know, we can just simply zoom in. Now this is the version 1. Let's say, like, if I place the camera here, and before we even proceed and we start creating iteration, it's good. Agree on lighting, basically, and the lighting is very simple. It's just a dome light here, so that we can just put one spotlight here and set a target on that, and the target would be the purple rock. So I put the purple rock as a target for that spotlight, and then we're gonna remove that spotlight. We're gonna remove. Good idea for me to look at that. Okay, so we have a spotlight coming from top, and maybe we can move it in coordinates somewhere on the side there. Just gonna move it back, and then the spotlight, we can just drive the exposure like really high up, and we can create this crazy exposure and drive the intensity of our dome light down, and then put the exposure of the spotlight as well down. So this is like a bright, and we can put some gobo there. So I have a tutorial about that too, how to create those gobos, the animated ones, and I'm using ones from Grayscale Gorilla. Just so quickly, I'm just gonna use abstract animated, or we can use some of the windows. I should probably drag a texture onto that tag. Now we have a softness affected by gobo. We'll see how that will play out. I like this reflection of the purple color onto the white rock, so I think that will be something that would be great for the beginning. Just you get that extra. If we would need to see the floor, we can just do something like really close-ups of just those two, right? And then change it to final 16:9, because I want that final video to be 16:9. So we start with some frame like that, and that will be that first ani. So now I have the first composition. I should probably save it, and then I can increase or decrease the exposure on the dome light. I'll see if I want to bring this even more up, and we can start here, right? So this is really something cool. It's not even any. So we save that, but then I'm just gonna save this project as, and I'm gonna save this, keep it simple. So we're gonna start with like a dark, just kind of opening, and those rocks just kind of moving. Okay, and we're not gonna need a lot of that. We're just gonna need that first move, like let's say 120 frames or 125 to be exact, and set this add to render queue. So this is in the render queue, and this is the path that it's gonna go to. So we're just gonna have C40 project, go to render queue, and now we can just go and iterate on that. So we can do dark, but save incremental. So we have dark beginning 001, and we can change that camera somewhere else. And for example, we can have a light, like an area light. Can get out of this frame, and that area light can go with like a purple color that we grab from here. And then again, this is something that we will record, and we can change the textures here as well. So we have two materials, which is going to be very simple for us. And we have this white texture, the dark, so we can keep it white, or we can create emission. I like this very much. This could be a wallpaper. Hello. Okay, so this is the end of one. I'm gonna probably render all of it. This is gonna be painful, but let's do this. Okay, I'll try like that. So again, add to render queue. So that's our second render. You see the name is different because we did and the pathway will adjust that. So project, camera, the camera name will stay the same, but then the name of the project will be reflected on the name of the file. So I don't have to worry about anything. I just keep stacking stuff. I will come back to that because like we shifted a lot from that initial idea, and I just come back to the beginning and we'll keep working there. I'm just gonna increase that dome light. We're gonna want that switch from a light, back to the bright scene. Okay, I'm gonna go pan. I'm gonna just take the camera and I'm gonna go from like here. I'm just gonna slide like here. So in the beginning, I'm gonna go there, and then 250 frames. I'm just gonna move like slightly over here, and that's it. Like nothing too crazy. And we're gonna see how that movement plays out. Is this really class move? Just very subtle slow-mo looking type. The texture, and this would be our establishing maybe the scene when there is a light. So I'm just gonna put that into render queue, and then we have a type ani01, and we're gonna keep iterating on that. So I'm just gonna save incremental. Let's go further back, keep looking. What am I doing? Oh, I really like that shot. Okay, I like this composition, so I'm just gonna fix the angles on the camera here and just come back to that. Okay, I need to actually stay a little bit tilted up. Okay, this is another shot where we a little bit further, so you can kind of see what we actually look in here. And now I'm just going to put it into render queue and create another version, save incremental. I'm just going to change this rock formation to do something different. So I'm just going to try to create a different composition of the rock, like where we have one top, one on the side, and like these we can delete. Yeah, essentially all the same rock, so I don't need to worry about anything. I want that floor actually to be lower. I don't need to really see that much. And we're gonna change the vibrate tag on rotation here to be 200%. Oh, so this is a wrong rotation. Gonna do horizontal here, and that will be movement like this. Oh, this came out really well with the texture wind behind it. So we can increase that texture as well to be larger. But okay, so I'm not going to use vibrate tag here. What I'm instead going to use is the rotation itself. So I'm just going to go to grayscale gorilla and use the signal. Okay, so I need to go extensions and user scripts, signal scripts modifier, and we're going to use a PSR. So I'm just going to delete position and scale and just keep that rotation and delete all those other ones. I'll just keep it. We just put a signal tag here, and I'm going to go to rock itself and take this horizontal value, and this is how we're going to rotate it. And we're gonna as well put the rock into position that we want. And no one's gonna tell us what kind of position. I'm gonna fix that null just so it rotates from the middle. Kind of like that spotlight, but maybe it's a bit bright. Okay, it seems to be I'm gonna have to be moving position of that rock and animate this when we go back here, just so we kind of animate the whole thing moving together, just getting that slight sense of movement, and finishing here. And also this needs to happen over 250 frames rather than 75, and we can easily now have the animation in. So these frames I really enjoy. Well, this looking really good. I'm super happy with the result. It's just kind of free. You know, I didn't expect it to turn out so good actually. I had to render a cube. And so we have 5 renders so far, and they are quite a lot of frames. So overnight, it should be nice animation. I will render this overnight, and tomorrow we can look at it and just composite it into nice animation. I'll get more details of this as well. So I'm just gonna, for example, I'm gonna get rid of in this animation version, like save incremental, I'm gonna get rid of the whole thingy, like the animation sequence, and we just keep it clean. And anything we're gonna see here is just gonna be happening on that level of. And now as well, what we can do to make it even more interesting, we can make this a cloth. So if I'm just gonna do remesh and maybe remesh it onto complete cloth style, like, so if I do that, press C, put the object back there. So we still have a displacement, so it doesn't look like it's that remeshed. But now I can put the cloth tag on it, simulation, cloth, and I can actually get rid of this movement altogether and just kind of keep it as simple as possible and apply that simulation tag cloth, and colliders on the rocks are fine. And then I can do balloon and stretching expansion time over 80 frames and expansion to 2.3. So I'm going to animate the Y position of that top rock. Seriously, I just want a Y position. And once it's gonna go here, it's just gonna go down so we can look at it. Oh, I didn't confirm the. So this is gonna get here. It's just gonna go down. Can increase the stretchiness, but also friction and stickiness. And that bottom rock, I'm just gonna animate up. So in the beginning, it's just gonna be here, and then about here, it's just gonna go up, just so we can squeeze that ball in the middle. Now what we can do, we can look at the UVs again, because now that I remeshed, I can set the projection again, and it can be even simpler. You know, so it can be just those two. I can do the UV packing, I can do the relax UVs, and then look at it again in our normal view, and yeah, and we get a little bit better look. I mean, it's just a bit crazy. Now, what we can do with a new Cinema 4DS 2023, we can actually ditch the texture and create another material here, only using that material alone, where we using geometry, opacity, color. So I'll just grab that, take it out. So now we have only purple material. and I'm just gonna create a new one. Just gonna go materials, standard, and that material will be only our. So you see all these things can happen with putting 2D, especially with bad UV unwrapping, but 2D textures into 3D world, it can just cause those issues. But now you see that we finally, thanks to material stacking, I really can go around that, and I should have done it in the first place. I can just use material stacking, and what I can do, I can tile a 4x4 just to get tinier texture on that purple ball. So when I go close up, I'm gonna get something like better detail image. Now with this, we can actually start here with the camera. So if I go here, delete the camera animation, and start in the Z position like that, where we only see the rock. So actually in the middle, zoom even more in, put the keyframe in, and then this should be already like that. Put the keyframe in. And now it's there. Now I can see that I think the animation is fine, and I'm not gonna need so much of it just so I don't render extra. So I'm gonna just crop it down to 125 again, and okay. So I want to get there faster. I think that also further away. Yeah, that's much better. And so faster and further away, just so I get those rocks as well. I get to see those rocks before it happens. So I'm gonna go to that cache, and I'm just gonna calculate cache scene. I just need to cache that one. So calculate cache, and now I can just look at it. Okay, so this is another render. So add to render queue, and I think this is plenty to work our simple 10-second animation. Now, if we really want to just kind of spice it up, we can just do one more version where I will probably come back to those initial ones and do just like a close-ups, right? Like really close up. And let's say only, 48 frames or 50 frames, let's say 2 seconds of this, just that will be enough for us to get another angle, another shot. We can go even more lower, just get completely different perspective here. Just something we we don't have in our sequence, yeah. But obviously, more time you play with those angles, the better it will be. So if you get into those crevices, and you might be able to get something completely unique that something like that. You know, you get in there and just get a different perspective. It's kind of through the viewer of. You can change the lighting according to that. So as well, you know, we can create a different scenario. Or completely further away, where we just absolutely show the whole scene and just kind of lose that effect of the, you know, being close up and have that interesting secret, like, or like a mystery to it. So this is just complete reveal, which can work in its own way, right? So it just depends how you want then use it effectively. And you can just completely get rid of the dome light, turn it off, and turn on the spotlight. And it's another shot that you can use really to emphasize. So I'm just going to use this one again. This is an interesting shot as well. I'm just going to fix my camera. Oh no. Now we can go to that spotlight and we can just kind of fall off angle, just increase that, fall off curve as well, so we didn't have that just a sharp line. Now when we exaggerate the movement, like when we go so far away, then we can go and revisit those vibrate tags and just maybe increase the frequency on those, just so we get a little bit more movement there from far away than we would normally want from that close up. So this is so fast. Okay, something like 0.13. That works fine. So we can record that. That's another 2 seconds of beauty. You can record it like from the ground position. A little bit closer. And then we go into camera and we create even wider angle. Just give that different sense of, you know, optical views. It's just kind of different view angle, different lens. Just get a different look at it as well. Good. Thank you very much. And see you in the compositing at Iterative. I'm going to save incremental as well before. Yeah, at Iterative. 15. Okay.